Have you heard about the train accident at Balasore district of Odisha that happened in June this year? The train collision had killed around 290 people and more than 1,000 people were injured. Many bodies were not identified due to the damaged faces of the deceased. In many cases, the bodies were accompanied by identifying documents such as an Aadhaar card or a driving license, as well as personal belongings such as a phone, purse or other recognizable objects. In other cases, there were no identity proofs or belongings, or they were misplaced, making identification difficult. Then how to identify these victims and hand it over to their families? Science had also solved this problem. There is something which is present in our body, which helps to find out our identity. Yes, you heard it right. It is actually unique, but inherited from our parents. Can you guess what it is? Yes, it is DNA, which is unique and inherited from our parents. DNA samples are taken from the victim's body and matched with the DNA of their family members. But what is DNA and what is it made up of? How does it look like? What is its structure? In today's video, we shall learn about DNA. So let us understand what the abbreviation DNA stands for. DNA stands for Deoxyribonucleic Acid. If we bifurcate the word DNA, deoxy means a missing oxygen atom, ribo stands for ribose sugar, nucleic means present in the nucleus of cells, and acid is phosphate ion which is negatively charged and acidic. You'll understand these terms as we learn about the composition of DNA later in this video. Before that, let us first learn what this deoxyribonucleic acid is. DNA or deoxyribonucleic acid is one of the nucleic acid that carries genetic information. Genetic information is the hereditary details that are transferred from parents to the offspring in the form of DNA or genes. Hence, DNA becomes a medium to find the parents, children or the family of the unidentified passengers who died in the accident. But where is DNA found in the body? DNA is a nucleic acid and one of four major types of macromolecules believed to be required for all forms of life. In eukaryotes like humans, DNA is found in the nucleus, with a minor quantity also present in mitochondria, while in prokaryotes, it is located in the cytoplasm and is concentrated in a region called the nucleus. Besides its location, do you know how the DNA looks like? What is its structure? The model of DNA looks like this. It is double-stranded. DNA is made of two linked strands that wind around each other and resemble like a twisted ladder, hence the structure is said to be double helix. James Watson and Francis Crick proposed the molecular structure of DNA which they termed the double helix. Let me tell you that Watson and Crick only discovered the structure of DNA. However, it was first recognized and identified by Johannes Friedrich Miescher in 1869 during his research on white blood cells. Each helix has a pitch of 3.4 nanometer. That's why the distance between any two base pairs is 0.34 nanometer. In DNA, the strands are antiparallel, meaning that one strand runs in a 5' to 3' direction, while the other strand runs in a 3' to 5' direction. The two strands are held together by hydrogen bonds and are complementary to each other. Each DNA strand is linear and long, comprising smaller units known as nucleotides which in turn form a chain. Each nucleotide is made of three components, a sugar, a phosphate group and a nitrogen base. If you look at the structure of DNA, each strand has a backbone made of alternating sugar and phosphate groups. The nitrogenous bases are centrally placed holding together these two strands. Let us learn about each of these nucleotides in DNA. First, sugar. Sugar is the backbone of this structure. Sugar in DNA is called a deoxyribose. Deoxyribose is a 5-carbon ringed sugar. It is known as deoxyribose sugar because of the absence of an oxygen or alcohol group in its second carbon, which is found in the case of the ribose sugar. Second, phosphate group. A phosphate group consists of a central phosphorus surrounded by 4 oxygens. The phosphorus is single bonded to 3 of the oxygens and double bonded to the 4th. Third, nitrogen bases. The 4 nitrogen bases or nitrogenous bases found in DNA are adenine, guanine, cytosine, and thymine. Adenine and guanine are referred as purines. Purine structure is produced by a 9-membered, 4-nitrogen molecule. On the other hand, cytosine and thymine are referred as pyrimidines. Pyrimidine structure is produced by 6-membered, 2-nitrogen molecules. The nitrogen bases have a specific pairing pattern. Purine pairs with pyrimidine base. This pairing pattern occurs because the amount of adenine equals the amount of thymine, the amount of guanine equals the amount of cytosine. The pairs are held together by hydrogen bonds. The nitrogen bases form a unit called base pair with each other. Adenine pairs with thymine and forms a double bond. Guanine pairs with cytosine and forms a triple bond. The structure of nucleotide looks like this. Both the phosphate group and nitrogenous base are attached to the central pentose sugar. The base is attached to the primary or first carbon of deoxyribose. The 5th carbon of the sugar is bonded to the phosphate group. A nitrogenous base attached with the sugar is called nucleoside. The DNA molecule has 2 asymmetric grooves, known as the major and minor grooves, as a result of the double helical structure of the molecule. When the backbones are far apart, the larger groove, known as the major groove, is formed. When they are close together, the smaller groove, known as the minor groove, is formed. The major and minor grooves, which reveal the margins of the bases, can be utilized to determine the base sequence of a particular DNA molecule by looking at the grooves. Now let's summarize this video. DNA is a double helix formed by base pairs attached to a sugar phosphate backbone. DNA is found in nucleus of eukaryotes and nucleoid in case of prokaryotes. Nucleotides are the building blocks of the DNA, which is made up of phosphate and nucleoside. Nucleoside is made up of nitrogenous base and sugar. The 2 grooves in DNA are major and minor grooves. At last, let us know about the 5 interesting facts about DNA. First, human DNA consists of about 3 billion bases. Second, about 99.9% of DNA of every person on the planet is the same. It's the 0.1% that makes us unique. Third, our red blood cells lack DNA. Fourth, all genes are made of DNA, but not all DNA are genes. And fifth and the last one, the 98% non-gene portion of our DNA is used to be called as junk DNA or dark DNA.